just going to say, subscribe to the newsletter. There's loads of cool stuff in there. We're going to be doing some like gaming stuff in there. There's loads of alpha and stuff in there. If you kind of actually pay attention to the stuff in there, that's pretty cool.
Okay, we're back. Welcome. I'm back. You two have been flying solo without me for a couple of episodes. Just been too busy. How are you both doing?
Yeah, going good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Just took Monday. Well, I was off for Monday and Tuesday, and then been trying to squeeze everything back into 3 days, which is a complete nightmare. So I've been playing catch up all week, but just about getting there. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, all good this side. We've had quite a busy week. The market's been, I think, probably the epitome of a roller coaster, and I'm very confused.
Why are you confused?
I mean, we had the liquidity rug, which I think Grant can speak to in a moment, and that's what threw me. And it was kind of like, everything was actually looking really good and positive, and there was some good progress being made across the board. I mean, it was actually looking really good. I mean, Bitcoin was looking terrible, but it has for months now. So that wasn't anything new. Everything else is starting to look really good. ETH is starting to come into the merge, and then that liquidity rug happened, and then I was just like, what now? What why? And kind of just really, like, from a psychological perspective, irrespective of whether I was invested in the market or not, it's just not again. It's just, I don't know, maybe a bit of fatigue. Also, maybe just, I got it wrong again. I got it wrong again. And I think everyone got it wrong on that one. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll bring some shit up anyway when we'll take a look. Just kind of going through ETH, going through some alts that look okay, going into merge, and then a couple of more funny news bits that we can get into. But yeah, should we? Let me.
I mean, I think Go for it.
Yeah, I'm obviously not going to hit you with this, but maybe one day. But so it's basically where I sit. I've got two, because my mum does like PT here. I've got like 2-3 kilo dumbbells that I always play with when I'm on stream. So ignore me on that. But I just want to go back to your point of the liquidity rug, Jedi. It was frustrating. It was emotionally like, for fuck's sake, can you just stop? Like, we're having good movement now. Can you just please stop playing around with this shit and just let it go? But what you can see on the chart is it's still hitting almost exact points of like reversal, both up and down. And what's cool today and this morning, and what I actually did this morning is, like, I saw it pumping, flicked some into stables. I got back from my run, and it had already like increased again. But you can see it's hitting these like exact bits on the chart, and I think it's going to play out. And if you're in our Discord, I posted this like a couple of days ago, and I also posted on Twitter with like a reminder of the day of the merge, if this will happen, and then also by Christmas, because I've got a target for what I think it's going to be at the merge. Then when it comes down, after the merge, and then what the Christmas is going to be. So I'm sitting fairly comfy with my thesis on Ethereum, and I think today, and I'm quite happy to say it, I think we're going to hit 1720, pull back, and then go again. I think today is going to be pretty bullish. I think the weekend is going to be okay. Towards the end of next week, I think we'll see a lot of movement, and then after that, it's just a shit show. But follow the lines. That's what you told me today. You're like, Dan, just listen to your own advice. Shit advice. Just listen to yourself.
Yeah, totally. I mean, obviously, you are obviously subscribing to the Fibonacci school of thinking, and it's, I mean, there's a reason why that school of thinking exists. It works. Most of the time that is going to play out. I do, however, have my concerns around the September narrative. There's obviously arguments that counter that and say, well, things are quite different in terms of the merge and how, you know, the merge is going to fuel it in a very different way. But when you get, you know, an unhappy Bitcoin, but right now, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, it actually is looking really strong for the first time in many, many weeks. I mean, we can bring the chart up. It's looking really good. And it started last
Can one of you guys share that?
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
My Chrome's having a fit. But I've kind of got an idea of why that is. But if you want to bring it up.
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
On the 3 day as well, I saw this morning the 3 day got a bullish engulfing candle now. But like we always say, everything's Dixie, man. It's Dixie, it's USDT dominance chart, and then the S&P.
I mean, on the 4 hourly, this thing just looks like it's really, you know, it's really taking on its own.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Send it.
It's the first time it's woke up in months.
Literally. I mean, it really hasn't done this for a long time. And it will be interesting to see like how it actually follows through with this now. Is it going to follow through? Are we going to get, you know, US markets opening and, you know, everything goes to shit again? So I purposefully put out the whole thing that the Dixie is definitely not at its highest point, because I knew that it was going to land up reversing. I mean, it's like I have the power of the market. If I call... so I didn't call it. So I just didn't believe that we were actually at top with the Dixie. And immediately after I said that, it just started pulling back. And, you know, the Dixie is actually starting to look quite soft at the moment. It really is. You know, that's a very good indication as to, you know, it's on the 4 hourly. So, you know, the last 12 hours, well, the last 24 hours effectively have been really a really tough time for the Dixie. And, you know, some people are calling like 102 to 104, which is obviously down here.
What's that weekly look
and
like? Because
weekly coming up.
Yeah.
Still great.
I mean, that looks like a shitcoin of epic proportions. I mean, you know, that looks like a BNB shitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, there's a couple of kind of reasons around my thinking was Dixie slowed down, and obviously the S&P and NASDAQ were like the correlated trade, and now it's like the inverse Dixie trade is just what the market is at the minute. So that slowed down, you know, that allows things to actually go in the direction they actually want to go in. I think up until now, though, as well, Bitcoin's been like again, on top of the anti-Dixie trade, it's also been like the anti-energy trade. And you can kind of imagine if you're running a huge mining farm and energy prices are one of your main kind of variables in your profit equation, it's like when energy is so sky high, you can imagine that those miners are taking in that. Obviously, that's going to be a huge factor in their decision of, do we realize this month or do we hold this month? So I haven't actually looked into that data. I'm just talking out my ass, but I can imagine that's what I'd be doing if I was in their situation. If any energy prices are so sky high, it's like, how do we survive through this when you're going to have to realize any Bitcoin that you have mined over the past couple of months? That was kind of my idea of it. I don't know what energy looks like over the past couple of days, but that combined with Dixie, combined with markets looking like they want to, S&P looks like it wants to go and retest 4166. If it does, invest head and shoulders from what I was checking this morning, and then, you know, just everything's just lined up perfectly. But usually, as I tend to mention, the outcome will be the outcome that fucks the most amount of people. So that's the only thing why I'm a little bit skeptical. But like the past few months is just leads anyone to be skeptical, doesn't it? So
Yeah. Plus, if you're following like the way the markets have gone in previous years of midterm rallies, you'll know that this week and next week it should be okay. We should see a little bit of a pump. Final weeks in September, stuff comes down, bounce first week of October, and then it's just like straight up Goblin Town towards the end of October. See you later, Jedi. The force has gone. And then like it's probably like Goblin. The Sith Lord has just taken him. October's supposed to like, according to like previous data, it'll be Goblin Town, slight reversal into November, and then pump straight into December. So that's kind of how I'm trying to play everything now. Like sit real comfy for the next 4 to 6 weeks. See what happens during October, and then potentially deploy. But it's no rush at the moment.
No, certainly not. It's strange, like, to pay so much attention to past month historical data, but it actually does work. Particularly around like your tax filing times and particular times that are recurring across years and stuff like that. Like naturally, that January time, UK filings, and then again in for the US filings later in the year. But you do tend to see some sell off into that and stuff. So I kind of hate that sort of shit because you have to pay attention to all sorts in the market. But it can't just be easy mode forever. But
just your thoughts on S&P. I mean, obviously it's falling in line with what the Dixie's doing. I mean, what do you guys feel Dixie's going to do? Dan, you reckon it's going to be fine until kind of after the merge, or do you think the merge will carry us through whatever movement the Dixie does?
So with the S&P, like I drew a chart in one of the newsletters the other day of like a little pennant, and it was literally just following like an up channel, and you could see where it's kind of like just bouncing off everything. I think we're going to have like a little mini rally for the next week or so. Yeah, you can see there. I think we're going to have like a little mini rally over the next week. And I think this will be a massive like exit liquidity for a lot of people, which I think they should use if they need to. But yeah, I don't think there's anything too catastrophic happening between now and then when it comes to like the macro. No really big news coming out. And I think it's just going to be, play the narrative of Ethereum, which is now, play the narrative of mining, which it is now. And then just be smart around it. Just be smart.
Yeah, on the Dixie as well, you also had ECB yesterday implementing the first kind of significant rate hike. Like better late than never. Jesus Christ! Like how long have they like taken to actually get their shit together and actually do something about it? Like euro holders have been completely destroyed. It's still at parity with the euro, with the dollar. So there are these like kind of factors that are playing into it to kind of allow the Dixie to cool off a little bit, but it just feels as if it is completely an anti-Dixie market at the minute. So it's like Dixie down, equities, crypto up, and that's the way it goes until it doesn't, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right. What else have we got? Have we got anything more interesting to talk about than the Boomer Town? What's ETH looking like? Can we bring that up?
Yeah, I think what's really like been quite significant this week, and I'd like to talk about it, is obviously, the performance of Lunar Classic. I mean, I know people are probably rolling their eyes out because, the only reason why you're rolling your eyes at this thing right now is because you missed out on the trade. Well, that part of it, anyways. I don't think it's over yet. I think we've got some action coming. And yeah, I mean, I think that's been very much the the narrative. I'll bring up ETH and then we can kind of like visit Lunar Classic. But I think Lunar Classic's been like a very big catalyst. I mean, yesterday on Binance alone, Lunar Classic did over $5 billion of trade. I mean, it surpassed both ETH and Bitcoin. I mean, it's just, you know, like this is the thing, is that we've seen this before where, you know, there's this whole, you know, flight from risk assets, and then any opportunity, any like ridiculous opportunity that gets presented, people just pile in. And I think Lunar Classic for me is probably like one of the most significant things that has happened in this market this year, you know, post the apocalyptic wasteland that it was, you know. And it's just like $5 billion, guys. I mean, on one exchange. KuCoin ran out of Lunar Classic to sell on their exchange. You know, they like had to bring in emergency supplies to like, you know, meet the demand that was actually currently happening. And I mean, it just, you know, this is the thing, is that there's such a huge willingness by people to want to pile in and, you know, just degen. I mean, it's like, it's probably the most degenerate thing that you could possibly like throw your money in, but look how much money was thrown at it. And, you know, it's pretty much stabilized at the level that it's at. I mean, it's just, I don't know, dude. It's actually crazy.
It's quite telling in and of itself, like that whole thing, because if you think about it, who would have noticed this? People who check Binance daily volumes, which is a really good,
yes,
it's a really good thing that I haven't been doing, because like they're not approving my verification for some stupid reason. But anyway, that's by the by. But checking Binance daily volumes and checking open interest on alts and things like that, that's a good kind of surefire way to see what daily interest is on like coins that don't necessarily have to have kind of ripped yet. So that's like the first and foremost the people who would have noticed. The other people that would have noticed are people that are still clinging on to the hope that, you know, Luna goes back to $100, which would probably see it at the most valuable asset combined on planet Earth. So that's never going to happen because the supply is so high. So those are the kind of people that took a punt. There was a couple of kind of stories on the market where people put like $400 at the bottom and have made like some decent returns, and a couple. So like the in the know players will have made money, and then the complete idiot retail participants would have, like us, would have made some money. But it is the point I'm trying to get at. It's people are still willing to participate in the market despite how horrendous it's been. And particularly that market trade in and of itself, like the Luna trade, how horrendous that's been. It's like people are still willing to deploy, whereas 2017, 2018, people just, you know, up sticks and left. And nothing kind of happened. It just went complete sideways for like a ridiculous amount of time, what felt like a complete age. So, you know, if there are opportunities out there, everyone tends to pile into the same trade, and that's just how it works. And then you get kind of ridiculous price movements like this. But what's the market cap currently set at? It's still like 3 billion or something, isn't it?
I haven't actually checked, but I'm just looking at the. Yeah, I mean, from the 3rd to the 9th of September, we saw a 520% gain on this thing. You know, some people have made some money here, guys.
Oh, mate, they've made bank.
Like,
some people on Twitter have been like big dick in there, like trades, made some serious cheddar.
Yeah, the market cap's 3.5 billion.
The lunacy.
That's crazy. It could easily 10x. The thing is, guys, it could easily 10x from here. It really could. I really
hope it doesn't.
It really could. I don't know. I've been scalping. It's been really cool. It's been one of the most net positive trades I've had this year. It's been really easy, you know. I mean, there's definitely been opportunities for wreckage. Hasn't been straightforward, but it's been pretty easy for me. You know, I've managed to catch it at the right times. I mean, yeah, it's been good.
I don't think it'll, like famous last words, but if it 10x's, then it's going to be like in the top 5. But we've seen because it's effectively turned into a meme coin now, right? Hasn't it? And we've
Absolutely.
seen
Yeah.
Shiba and Doge turn into top 5 projects. So,
maybe lunacy will be the coin of the year. Like every year there's like in 2001 it was dot, in 2022 it was lunacy. Maybe that's what it's going to be. Maybe this is going to be the coin of the year.
No, I don't think so.
Did you miss out or not? Yes, I did. Again.
So
I mean,
can we move on to Ethereum?
Yeah, we're on to Ethereum. Anyways, listen, just to conclude, just quickly, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that there's a chance for us to start discussing that it will be the coin of the year. I think it's got a lot more to cover if it wants that. But it just illustrates the madness that can ensue just off an idea and a whole lot of liquidity entering into one space. I mean, it's just ridiculous. $5 billion. I still can't believe it. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, I think obviously ETH coming in at 1700. 1700 has been like the biggest area of interest for a while. But I mean, we spoke off air about at the beginning of the stream about that kind of liquidity rug, and it effectively was, but off chain. It seemed like market makers just completely went offline and didn't want to take any liquidated assets that were coming down the pipe, which is really strange. But as soon as I did see that, I thought like there was something. It was just a little bit weird to me, and then someone came out with this kind of thread that highlighted that liquidity flows on centralized exchanges just effectively disappeared. Now, whether that was coordinated or whether that was, the risk reward at that specific point in time just wasn't there for the market makers. As soon as I kind of seen that data come out, it was just like, well, I'm not going to kind of sell because hopefully that means that the market should just reset under normal conditions, and that has played out. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass and a bit of a shock to the system, but it was, as soon as you kind of seen the reasoning behind it, it was just like, well, naturally that should allow the market to reset once that liquidity comes back. And we have seen that, so it's played out quite well.
What are your thoughts around like the forecast to the next couple of weeks? I know Dan's given his account on it. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't really have one, to be honest.
Okay.
I know that's really boring. It's just like, again, the most. I don't know. I really don't know. If I did, I'd be placing heavy bets on it, but I have no idea. No one has really a clue of what's going to happen. It's like probably one of the biggest catalysts the space has ever seen. You've got the likes of Arthur Hayes saying it's the most bullish catalyst going in and even after, and there won't be a sell the news. The thing is, if it doesn't rally into it, where is the sell the news going to come from? Do you know what I mean? It's like usually you get a rally into the news, but if it's not rallying into the news, then does it pump afterwards? Like, these are like all the things that I'm trying to weigh up. It's just, but what I've just been doing is taking out better position sizing and looking at positions and just thinking if this completely goes to shit, I have kind of an invalidation, but I'm too busy to be kind of trading this shit at the minute. So just picking up the correct kind of position sizing, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, these protocols aren't going anywhere, and I can kind of sit tight and hold them through any turbulent times. Still don't think we're completely out of the dark yet. I think I've just got this kind of forecast of some impending doom towards the end of the year, but we'll just see. I always just kind of play what I see instead of kind of trying to be Mystic Meg. people get off on their predictions, but it's not for me. Just play what the chart's telling you, or play what the wider market's telling you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think my feeling is pretty much the same as yours. I mean, it's always fun to kind of like, like it's going to do X, going to do Y, but I think the reality is that it really is an unknown at the moment. I mean, even if you look at historical Septembers, they've always been terrible. But this September is probably looking pretty decent so far. I mean, this last couple of days have been really good. I mean, before obviously liquidity rug pulls in unexpectedly. But before that, it was also looking good. So maybe September does do what Dan says, and then it finishes off with, a bit of a disaster. But it really is an unknown at the moment. And like you said, I think the most valuable thing you can do right now is to find out where the next meta is. We've been speaking about meta and the meta game itself, and I think for me the most valuable aspect of the space right now is to figure out, what metas are currently being formulated. Obviously it's not something that gets planned. It just kind of happens, and like make sure you got your finger on that pulse. And like you said, like if you are aware of the protocols that you're dealing with and you've done your research, have some freaking conviction. If you're going to buy into them, just have the conviction, ride it out. It's just a matter of time that, they'll show themselves to be the worthy protocols that you identified them to be. And I think that's, that's what we do every day, right? We kind of like, we talk about like your heroes and, your handles. I mean, handles something that we're going to be covering in the coming weeks. Forex on chain, who would have thought, the guys that built it, and like, dude, that's like a real world use case, for goodness sakes. You can actually like do Forex trading on leverage, and you can borrow, and you can do all of this stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to be looking out for, like liquidity AMs, all that kind of stuff, like what is the next meta, and how do we then play the game from that point onwards?
Yeah. So the from a couple of months back, the Xmon trade got confirmed, where they will be doing a lock drop to effectively SudoSwap's going to take the reins, and then any Xmon holders will be getting like a 41% lock drop. So that played off well. Obviously a big sell off, but now it's like allowing those people who want to actually bid on the next iteration of SudoSwap. So that's playing out. So that was good. That was just playing into what you've just said. It's picking up new metas and having conviction into them. So that's worked well. We'll see how that goes over the coming months. But I think the next one personally for me is this. It's a bit of an obscure merge play, but kind of your MEV block builders and how that whole thing plays out, because there's a lot of things that happen post-merge in a proof of stake world that allow different kind of avenues of value extraction, and there's a more trustless way for those impending block builders to actually get paid. And there only seems to be one that's actually allows, like retail participants to be involved in value accrual from such valuable MEV and block building, and that seems to me as being Manifold Finance and the Fold token. So these guys seem to have their shit on lock. They seem to be the only project that's moved forward and is tokenized. So that's kind of my high conviction for the long term. It might be running a little bit hot into the merge, but I think it's still sub 100 million. So that's kind of my play that I've been picking up, and just going to kind of sit on that and forget about that. So we'll see how that comes out. We'll see how that plays out. But I think that's one. I got a comment on my tweet earlier saying, "Yeah, you're buying at a premium, not a discount now." but been buying since around $16 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. People love to kind of comment on shit. People just on Twitter, people just reply and be dickheads when, you know, it's the only thing they're adding to the website. They don't actually go out and put any thesis forward. They just shit on everyone else's thesis.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that, isn't there? It's easy to, you know, there's the age-old saying, you know, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone has one.
And some people have many.
They're the special ones, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So going back to what we were saying. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the only thing with Fold at the minute is liquidity on chain is relatively low, but there are rumors of an additional liquidity raise happening at the minute, so we'll see. As soon as that liquidity comes in, then you can get those big swings. But we'll see.
I mean, there's definitely, you know, there's definitely quite a lot that's happening at the moment from a building perspective. You know, like it's kind of like the cliche that will continue throughout the bear market is in bear markets people build, and it's really is happening. You know, like if you are sitting around right now and you don't have anything to do, then I can tell you with 110% certainty that you are doing the wrong thing, or you are doing the wrong things. And it's quite simple. There's a lot of new stuff that's entering into the space at the moment. There's a lot of new ideas. There's a lot of new protocols. Get out there and find out what those things are, because those are the things that are going to 1000x and 100x and 50x for you. And the only way that that's going to happen is if you put the work in. And I'm seeing a lot of it. There's a lot that's going on right now. I mean, we're super busy, and you know, we're trying to bring the stuff that we really think's going to do well to you guys. But you know, there's got to be, it's kind of like a bit of a team effort. You know, like you got to go out there and you got to find the stuff, and you got to start bouncing those ideas around with your tribe. And if you don't have a tribe, then come and join our Discord server and find some people in there that you can connect with, and you know, get the ideas flowing, because that's how you make money in this space. That's how you push the boundaries. You're not going to land up doing it because your barber gave you a tip. You know, that's not how it works, guys.
Yeah, if your Uber driver tells you it's time to sell,
that's when you sell. Yeah, I mean, you've got to really like look below. You got to look below all those leaves on the forest floor. You're not going to find your magic leaf lying there. You got to go and find it. So yeah, so we're seeing a lot of new stuff coming in. There's a lot of new ideas. You know, all these chains that are, you know, looking for innovative projects that are going to take the real world into the blockchain world is where I think it's all going to happen. You know, the financial services stuff is where I think kind of like, you know, we're seeing it obviously with Hxro. I mean, Hxro is one of our sponsors, and we love what they're doing because they're bringing that whole degen TradFi thing into the blockchain space and on chain, and then all the benefits of being on chain. And you know, there's others that are happening, and you guys must go out there and find them, and then come and tell us about them in Discord, because we can't be everywhere.
Yeah, I think like if you think back to like 2017, 2018, the idea of mass adoption and real world utility was like a complete cesspit. So you had like, you know, everyone wanted to make a decentralized Uber or DentaCoin, which is going to be the financial infrastructure for dentists, and a million different others. And that's probably why a lot of people slept on Steppen as like move to earn. And it's just like, they just seem a bit like scammy. But there is the other side of that argument as well, where it's like on-chain lending and borrowing, and Aave was like the darling child of what happened with the 3AC and like all the kind of mass liquidations and contagion that happened, because, you know, you can kind of call your lending counterparty and just avoid the phone calls and don't necessarily have to pay those guys back. But when it's actually a smart contract, they don't necessarily give a fuck. So you're going to get liquidity either way if you're not going to pay that down. So like those actual real use cases and utility that you can bring in from the financial world, as I say, handle with their Forex platform and their lending and borrowing platform, things like that. That's where the actual, real world adoption and real world use cases come in, not Dentacoin and decentralized Uber and decentralized Just Eat and things like that.
The thing is, what's interesting about Web3 particularly is like everyone thinks that Web3 is going to create a whole lot of solutions. Like we're just going to like create new things. And what people don't realize is that we've got to like streamline what it is that isn't efficient right now. And then once we've done that, then we can move on to the real kind of invention in the space. Not to say that there won't be invention in the space, but I believe that we need to streamline the current Web 2 narrative. That's where it's got to begin, and I think where it begins is by literally taking what does DeFi stand for. DeFi stands for decentralized finance. So let's freaking create shit that solves the financial stuff, streamlines it, makes it unhindered and streamlined. Like when we did this thing this week, Dan and I, and this is a great opportunity to talk about it, is that there's this conference that's happening in London. It's a Zebu live conference, and it almost seems to me like it's a little bit of a it's a new and fresh conference that's come onto the scene, and it's not like the one that's in the calendar. Well, not yet anyways, and with that comes it's a little bit more edgy, and there's a little bit more like variation in the kind of people that are going to be attending the conference, which is perfect. I mean, that's it's just kind of inadvertently landed up buying into who we are as Blockmates, so it's perfect from that perspective. And we co-hosted with Zebu a panel of pretty much all who's who in the gaming space. I mean, there was just a whole lot of like big brains in this panel, and it was just incredible, like just to kind of look at what are the fundamental challenges that Web3 presents, and one of them is, my favorite word for this week is like frictionless onboarding, and it just says it all, frictionless onboarding. It's like, you don't want people to be subjected to, and we've discussed this thing, like, on so many occasions, is like, what a freaking pain in the ass it is to try and get MetaMask to work, and try and get your MetaMask to work on your mobile phone. And I mean, it's a nightmare. Whereas these guys, from a gaming perspective, because once again, we've said this many times before, on stream, between us, like gaming is the gateway. It is the gateway drug to mass adoption, where people are using games on the blockchain and they don't even know that they're doing it. They're getting rewarded, whatever the rewards might be. They now have ownership. But the biggest point of this discussion is frictionless onboarding, solving problems, making it enjoyable, and encompassing all the qualities that blockchain brings, and in Web3, it's the ownership. I mean, that's kind of like head and shoulders. The main thing is that you have ownership, you have custody. A gaming company doesn't own your shit. You own your shit, you work for it, you can sell it, you can trade it, you can delete it. No one gets to make a call on that because it's yours. And that's what it's all about. And those are the kind of problems that we need to be solving from a Web3 perspective. And gaming is the one that's going to do it. I promise you, it's going to be the one that's going to run head and shoulders above everybody else. And I think very close behind is going to be the financial boys. I mean, they already are, but I think the gaming guys are going to lay the foundation for frictionless onboarding and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think gaming will bring in bring in the largest amount of people, but then I think finance is going to do the largest amount of volume. And it's like that. It's like the Trojan horse, isn't it? It's like they're bringing in the GameFi, but under the hood, it's you're bringing in like large financial institutions and things like that. I think that's where the key value will be, but that's going to be like the gateway drug for mass adoption, if that makes sense.
Yes, 100%. So if you're going to be in London, come say hi to us on the 23rd to the 25th of September, I think it is, for the Zebu Live conference. I'm getting on a plane and I'm flying across the world. I'm going to go and hang with Dan, and we're going to have a good time. It's going to be really interesting, and looking forward to connecting and meeting with all the freaks in the space. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and we're going to be super easy to spot as well, because I'm going to have a big Chad Man Dan on the back of my t-shirt. Jedi's going to have Jedi Blockmates on his t-shirt, and we're just going to be sticking out like absolute sore thumbs. You know, I'm going to have like my dumbbell microphone just going around trying to interview as many people. But dude, that Zebu Live is going to be freaking awesome. And like, I think it's on the Friday or the Saturday. They're doing an after party. So the after parties, you know, goes from 7 till like, I don't know, 11, but then they've actually gone and rented out another space from 11 p.m. till 5 in the morning.
The only reason why Dan's going to the conference, just for the record.
I'm only going because like I'm clearly going to miss my train home. And you need when you're in London between like the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. when you're waiting for the first train, it's not a nice place. And if you've got a safe place that isn't the local Italian coffee shop that closes at 4, where you can get a really nice ciabatta, it's going to make life a lot easier. So now, like I was saying, super excited for it. You know, it's bringing together like a load of big brain, cool minds into one space from, you know, all walks of life. Super stoked.
If you guys aren't the last to leave that club, you've done this platform a disservice, I think.
the founder and the captain at the helm has decreed his orders. Yes, Captain.
No, I'll be in Singapore that week for Token 2049. So I'll be walking around like a lost puppy. So
I think you're going to be
$20 beer, then go for it.
I think you're going to be really surprised as to how many people you're going to land up meeting that you've bumped into online, and you know it's going to be a big surprise. I promise you, that's what's going to happen. So it always happens with these kind of things. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really cool. Are there any news items that we wanted to look at, like something funny?
Yeah, if you check that private chat on here, there's two that I think are quite funny and ironic. The first one.
Redo them because I disconnected. So,
all right, 2 secs. Yeah, the first one being Coinbase are now going to front the money for the Tornado Cash people who have been held liable. Like, what, like, who's running the ship over at Coinbase? Because it's just knee-jerk reaction after knee-jerk reaction.
So tell us about what's going on here. What have they decided to do?
We'll go up. There's a TLDR at the top. So TLDR, Coinbase is funding a lawsuit brought by 6 people challenging the U.S. Treasury Department's sanctions of Tornado Cash smart contracts and asking the court to remove them from the U.S. sanctions list. The sanctions exceed Treasury authority, harm innocent people, remove privacy and security options for crypto users, and stifle innovation. It's like, you know, these are the same guys like Circle, Coinbase, obviously USDC, the same kind of people who were blacklisting these people in the first place. And this is from Brian Armstrong. I just don't get what the fuck's going on at Coinbase.
So do you think
are you in bed with the Fed, or are you go on?
Like, do you think they're doing this to help settle his actual case? To bring the guy who's in question onto the Coinbase.
Dan's breaking up quite badly. Yeah. also lost him. I think his question was like, are they directly trying to benefit this guy or not?
Well, it just looks like a complete PR move. Like they shot themselves in the foot with the blacklisting and Circle doing that, and they probably came under pressure from their LPs and their investors to, go and try and make it right, but don't fuck it up in the first place.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit of confusion in terms of policy and like how do we conduct ourselves in the space. I think they've generally had that. I mean, we've obviously discussed this before, where they don't have a clear strategy. It's not like the leadership sits down and says, like, we really need to approach things in this way when this kind of shit hits the fan, or we just don't say anything, or this is how we go about saying it, or this is how we defend people in the space, or we just don't defend people in the space. I mean, I think a company of that size, it almost seems like the ideal way to approach it is to just not say anything ever until there's like a clear strategy around, like, what do we want? What do we stand to gain out of this? Is it in our interest? And even if you do, like, from a business perspective, take on kind of like the federale approach, then so be it. That's the way you want to run your business. That's the way you want to run your business. If you want to be a maverick and you want to like take on the decentralization baton and deal with the consequences, then make sure you've got a really good team of lawyers and you're ready to fight, on the other end of it when you sit with the regulators. I think there's a lot of challenges and a lot of strategy that needs to go into exactly what it is that you're saying. Like, what are they doing? How are they doing it? And it just seems like they don't have a freaking clue.
They're probably being pulled from like pillar to post with what they want to do, what their largest backers want them to do, and then obviously from a community perspective and marketing and PR perspective, it's like you've got three horses pulling in complete separate directions. And I think they've kind of they fucked it with people and participants with inside the industry regardless. Like, everyone knows how kind of intertwined they are with US regulators and things like that. So they've lost from a PR perspective on that front. I don't know who that guy was recently who was calling Kobe out for being sponsored by FTX, but you've went for the complete wrong person. And he's just gonna you know what happens when someone comes from him, he doesn't have to do anything. I think he pulled up a phone call, like a blanked out phone call with Brian directly, and said Coinbase wanted to hire me to steer their PR campaign in the right direction. He just said no, and he'd give them a list of things to go off and go and do. And then this like absolutely nobody's rabbiting on to him, calling them out for being sponsored by FTX on a podcast, which I can guarantee he probably doesn't take any of that money and just gives it all to Ledger.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't need it. 100%. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So they need to sort the shit out. They need to sort their inter crypto relations out as well, before they try to tackle the wider narrative and sentiment.
Kobe is just genuinely, I mean, just to kind of like deviate a little bit, but Kobe is genuinely, he's just a good guy, I mean, obviously, he's naughty. I mean, he's definitely a naughty guy in many ways, but it's not in a bad way, like that's probably the only bad thing that can be said about Kobe. Yeah, he could be a little bit naughty sometimes, kind of like, poke the bear a little bit, but who doesn't like to do that, Otherwise, the guys, someone said it on Twitter. I mean, Kobe is pretty much Jesus Christ, in the space. The guy gives money away. He's actually like super, super fucking cool, and it's like, yeah, you don't want to piss on him. Like you said, he's the wrong guy. You might as well go and start a forest fire with a can of fucking gasoline and stand in the middle of it,
And what was the final one? I think just to like have a little bit of a laugh before we end up on the hour is Pomp left the Bitcoin maxi camp.
Do you have that link? Just link it quickly so I can bring it up.
He's coming over to Ethereum now. Let's go.
No, but he's been an advocate for Ethereum for a while. It's not a new thing for him. He's done it before, I think.
No,
yeah, but it's not confirmed until it's in his bio.
It's not confirmed.
That's when correct. You know what you just sell all the ETH you've got. If that's that's not the right one. That's consensus referring to. Yeah, that is.
No, that's alpha. That's alpha, guys.
Get that off the screen. I haven't bought any yet.
That's alpha. That's alpha.
You can put that in the newsletter, Dan.
Business famous. I love this post. Laser eyes gone. Bitcoin in bio gone. Pretty soon he'll be tweeting about dividend stocks. And then he responds.
Oh, what does he say?
I tweeted about Bitcoin yesterday. People who have been around for a while know that bear markets are for building. So in other words, he's building away from Bitcoin because it suits him.
Maybe he's coming to Solana.
That's what I've been doing, but don't confuse it for a lack of conviction in Bitcoin. Dude, we know where you are and what your sentiment is. Just be honest about it, like join us on the dark side. The road to Nirvana is paved with many avenues, not just one, not just Bitcoin.
I don't get people who are so hell-bent on not being wrong. If you like constantly iterating on your own opinion, you're eventually gonna like stumble upon things where you're right and you're right big. Don't like just being married to one idea and nailing your colors to the mast so early and building a whole identity around that sort of thing is just a complete way to look like an absolute idiot. Like people who are so sure of their opinions are not to be trusted. You have to constantly iterate and move on. You can't just be one dimensional. It's fucking stupid. And if you are doing that, it's kind of like, well, what are you gaining from that? Are you extracting value from people who are also of that mindset? And are you actually generating more kind of upside from actually the identity as opposed to the belief, if that makes sense? I think that's kind of what he's been doing, in my opinion.
The thing is, Grant, that we've chatted about this in various forms, is that it seems naive and almost silly, it's not even a stupid thing. It just seems silly, just based on pure logic, that you're sitting in probably one of the most innovative spaces that we've seen in humanity's history, like around just all this technology that's going on right now. And there's more question marks than there are certainties around this whole thing, and for you to sit in one space or in one seat and say, this is the answer, this is how we are going to solve all these problems, and there are no other ways, is silly. It's not even, it's like beyond stupid. It's just plain silly. And that's what this is. It's like, you can't say that Bitcoin is the only thing that's going to solve X, Y, and Z problems. You can't say that Ethereum is the only thing that's going to solve A, B, and C problems. There's got to be a culmination of ideas, and there's got to be a whole lot of trials and tribulations before we come out the other side where we can say with certainty that, generally speaking, these are the solutions for the following problems, because we've tried everything else. And we're nowhere near that, guys. And if you think we are, then you just don't. I truly believe that you don't understand the extent of what technology has to go through before we arrive at those points where we have those solutions.
Exactly. Same's true for like Ethereum maxis as well. It's just they're the least wrong at the minute.
True.
At the minute, no, 100%.
And that's just like
yes.
That's like I research scientist background. That was nothing was ever fact. It's the most information you have at one point in time, and then you go and try and disprove that thesis, and then that's the next opportunity.
But you hit the nail on the head. Be water. Be willing to change. Be willing to roll over. There's no certainty around anything right now. I mean, especially in every facet of our lives, you know, politically, socially, spiritually. I mean, there's just so much stuff that's going on, and then you've got technologically, you know, like, no, dude, if you're not willing to be water, then you're in a world of pain.
It's got to be like an ego thing as well, and I suppose it's one of those things where, you know, you'd feel like a bit of a dickhead if you built a full following around one kind of identity and then said like went and stood on the other side of the fence. You know, you got to kind of play with those emotions at the end of it as well, but maybe I think scaling back now and then begin to scale into Ethereum, and then it becomes
so the guy who has, in my opinion, and I've got a bone to pick with this guy, and it's like, who's completely and utterly taken this whole thing to the maximum is that dude PlanB and his whole, you know, stock to flow model, which really did seem like a great idea at the time. And, you know, there was a whole lot of really clever thinking behind it. And you can't deny that. It was like really, the guy thought about it and he put together a really good thesis and a really good theory around this whole thing. And then as soon as it gets disproved, the guy continues grifting on this thing, and he's still continuing. I think the guy's probably got 2 million followers now, and he's leading all these poor, unsuspecting people down this path, you know, whereas he could have reinvented himself. He could have come up with probably 10 different tacks, like 10 different theses around this whole thing, and he could have probably been around 10 million followers now, and he would have had credibility, and he would have had everything that he could possibly have ever wanted. But instead, he chose the egotistical, I'm PlanB, and I've got this model, and I'm going to try and stick to this model for as long as possible. And you know what? It doesn't matter what happens. This model's valid. And that's just bullshit, as far as I'm concerned.
It's like tarot card readers. Just they
no,
know
dude,
but
this is the thing. It's anyway. Like with TA, the beautiful thing about TA, like pure TA, is that you have a plan, you conceptualize, you rationalize, you put it out there. But the golden rule with that plan is be prepared to change it at any given point. You got to have your invalidations. Your invalidations are there for a reason. And if you can't do the real life application of what you do in a TA process, then bro, you're failing. You've got to be able to say, cool, I was wrong. I'm wrong. I'm done. But you know what? I've got another idea. Let's check it out. Cool. Then you've got everybody's attention, and then you've got everybody's respect, because you are standing up on your little soapbox and you're saying, you know what, guys, I was wrong. My stock to flow model is actually, it's broken. I need to go and rethink things. But you know what? Maybe there's this, or maybe there's that, but he didn't do that. And that's why everyone is hating on him, and rightfully so.
All right. That's a good way to end. Unless there's anything else, I think we'll
have you got out of your system now?
I'm always getting stuff out of my system, bro. Like, it's just part of having a Greek heritage, and, you know, waving your hands around. It's just one of those things. You've got to be able to express yourself adequately.
All right. If anyone's still listening, please do the whole like and subscribe thing. We're slowly gaining some traction, but, you know, we're coming for those bankless guys' heads. We're not stuck in our ways, basically just off the back of what we were just saying. So we'll get there eventually, but you need to help us out with that. So it's do all the like and subscribe and comment and all that bullshit that everyone has to say when they do this sort of thing. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. Any final remarks?
Yeah, my final remarks are: come to Discord. Come hang with us. I have a channel in Discord, but you've got to earn your keep there. And how do you earn your keep? Be active. Message, you've got to get a certain post count. Don't worry, we're not going to charge you any money, but you need to participate. I have a channel. I think that channel's been really, really cool. There's been a lot of alpha that's been dropped in that channel over the last couple of months. And yeah, that's it from me. I think Dan on the newsletter, you can take that one away. And yeah, have a good weekend, guys. We'll chat next week.
Well, my internet connection's laggy, so I'm just going to say subscribe to the newsletter. There's loads of cool stuff in there. We're going to be doing some like gaming stuff in there. There's loads of alpha and stuff in there. If you kind of actually pay attention to the stuff in there, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you sent out. Yep. You actually sent out a. You did kind of like a survey. Yeah. You did a survey this week. Yeah.
So I sent out a survey yesterday. So if you get a minute, fill that in because it's going to help us create better content for you. Be able basically like give us the leverage to give you more alpha as well, which is what we want to do. And then they want like a good reading experience from it as well. We don't want it to be someone that just slips into your inbox and slips into your outbox.
Yeah. Cool,
yeah,
guys.
so that if you are wanting to sign up to that, all our links and things are in the description below, so you can find that quite easily. I mean, it's plastered everywhere, but you should be able to find it there as well.
Cool. We're getting good at this, aren't we?
Woo. All right,
cool, guys.
That's it for today.
Thank you.
Speak soon.
Cheers.